and we will be beginning panel 4. We'll start with the next panel discussion on developing a winning toolkit for an omni-channel retailer. For this session, may I invite the moderator, partner Kearney, Ms. Bharati Srinivasan. Let's give her a warm welcome. She's super passionate about partnering with consumer goods players, manufacturers, and retail majors on consumer-centric digital enablement with a focus on an end customer-obsessed perspective to e-commerce, direct-to-consumer approaches, and omni-channel strategy. Our panelist, CEO Logic ERP, Mr. Swarndeep Singh. Huge round of applause for Mr. Singh. He's the Managing Director of Logic ERP Solutions Private Limited, an ERP company founded in 1993. Over 30 years of rich experience in IT industry and has traveled with the top notches of different countries. Under his guidance and supervision, now Logic ERP is serving more than 35,000 satisfied customers and is recognized as advanced ERP solution for the retail industry. Our next panelist for this session is co-founder Quickshift, Mr. Prodipto Roy. Let's warmly welcome Mr. Roy. He is an IIT Delhi alumni, brings more than 3 decades of experience in retail and fashion supply chain. He has a 360-degree view, having been into management consulting in supply chain operations as a profit center head supplying to international retailers. Yet another very accomplished panelist, co-founder of the Ayurveda company, Mr. Param Bhargava. Let's warmly welcome Mr. Bhargava, an eminent figure in the customer goods industry. He has dedicated his professional focus in building the country's most unique and indigenous Ayurveda brands for the millennial and Gen Z. Our next panelist, Senior Manager Partnerships, Payoneer, Mr. Kavish Ahuja. Welcome. He is South Asia team and leads their partner program across the region. He's responsible for managing relationships with key Payoneer channel partners and lead business development initiatives to grow Payoneer presence in the region. And our final panelist for this session, Director ShoeTree, Ms. Jeevika. Let us warmly welcome Ms. Jeevika from ShoeTree. Over the course of 15-year career, she has worked and traveled globally as Director Business Development. Overall, she has consistently demonstrated communication, planning, client relations, client relationship management, and customer needs assessment and teamwork abilities in every aspect of her director role in her previous company. We welcome all our panelists. One huge round of applause once again for our wonderful panelists. And here we go.
Thank you. Great to see everybody here. It's definitely going to be a big challenge keeping the audience engaged right after the lunch session. But hopefully we have an interesting topic here. And we also have people here who are probably really well suited to talk about this. So I think no pressure on us to keep the audience engaged. Let's get started. So I think omni-channel is a word that we keep hearing across everywhere. People wonder what's omni-channel and what's D2C and what's e-commerce and what's all of these put together, right? But irrespective of what our different takes or perspectives may be, I think fundamentally the point remains that omni-channel / digital or D2C, omni-channel essentially is definitely the next big revolution that's already taking the retail and the consumer landscape by storm. What does this fundamentally mean, right? I mean, it's all hyped up and there are several definitions, but ultimately, customers shop from various channels. It could be physical channels, it could be digital channels, combinations therein, or whatever it is, right? And innovation, sky's the limit for it, so we never know what else we may come up with. But I think just having multiple channels that customers shop from is just a multi-channel strategy, multi-channel approach, or multi-channel touch points to reach customers. But at the heart of omni-channel is this concept of a seamless, homogeneous shopping experience that a customer will see, irrespective of which touch point or how heterogeneously we manage them as businesses. And hence, I think what we would like to do together as a team here on stage is focus on the two very important pillars of omni-channel, of succeeding and winning in the omni-channel world. One is the consumer focus, the customer obsessed, consumer backwards kind of a focus, which is at the heart of omni-channel strategy, of succeeding and doing well meaningfully in omni-channel strategy. And the second part is it doesn't come from nowhere, right? I mean, omni-channel, the heart, again, if I said the heart of it is the customer, the brain of it is all the entire ecosystem that omni-channel revolves around. The right kind of a technology platform, the right kind of a fulfillment enablement, the right kind of supporting technology overall, the entire payments experience, all of which go together to provide that single, seamless, homogeneous customer experience that customers can be comfortable and see it in ubiquity. So that's what we will be doing. And I think we are lucky to have today a panel which has people who can talk about both the consumer perspective, be it Param who can talk about his experience in a traditional, I mean typically traditional domain like Ayurveda, but then how that's growing and how consumers are reacting to it. Or Jeevika who can talk about the fashion and kind of ShoeTree. She's the director of ShoeTree, so I think that's something that we can look forward to. While on the other hand, I'll invite Prodipto, Swarndeep, and I forget your name. Kavish, yes, sorry about that. Yes. It's hard being a moderator and remembering all the names at once, so I'm going to be honest about that. But Kavish, to talk about, I think, some of the other enablers, especially on the technology, payments, and fulfillment sides. So let's get started without much ado. Param, starting with you, like we spoke about the customer, then consumer being at the heart of any strategy, and all the more with an omni-channel experience. So in your experience in Ayurveda and that kind of a traditional space, and beyond in general with your experience in the consumer and retail world, what has been some of the headwinds and tailwinds which are driving the need for omni-channel, and what are some of the learnings and experiences you've seen?
I would like to request the panel to move to a Hindi and English format because of the audience profile that we have.
Sure.
If it's comfortable to you guys.
So thanks Unicommerce team for bringing this together, right? And before we jump onto that, I'll give a quick background on what we do and who I am, right? I am Param Bhargava. I'm the founder of two of the fastest growing D2C brands, which is now omni-channel, right? So not D2C only. One is called TAC, the Ayurveda company, and second is Khadi Essentials. So, it's important to understand that India has gone through a sea change in the last 2.5 years, right? The 2.5 years taught a lot the way, new consumer is reacting in the post-pandemic era. So it's important to understand that how you really approach and acquire consumers once if they have already, understood the power of digital content, right? And now how do you, in last 4 to 6 months, since the third wave of COVID, suddenly consumers are again heading offline. After that mega learning of digital content, it has suddenly shifted to a dynamic offline business, right? Because, and it's probably, the word that is being used is the revenge shopping, the revenge tourism. Everything, if people were stuck inside their homes, they're going out. But the trickiest part currently is that the consumers have gained a lot of knowledge and awareness around the quality of products that are now available. So which has given this large growth to the entire new age brands, because these new age brands like us, like, Mama Earth, Boat, all of these guys have, brought out revolutionary products at the right price points and connecting with the, consumers directly via their social media handles, via their content channels like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and then conversing with them. So that experience which was being given online, suddenly it has a very large requirement offline also. So where, we as a brand understood at a very early stage, TAC is only 15 months into its journey. And in 15 months, we are the only brand which was able to raise seed round from a large consumer care company like Wipro. And, giving that experience of online and offline via our entire omni-channel approach. So now, if it's important to understand that you were mentioning around Ayurveda, right? How an ancient science, so when we speak around larger forums around why Ayurveda is still not growing that large. So Ayurveda, if you see, understand that Ayurveda was typically, bifurcated in two parts in terms of brands, right? Either they were very mass market brands in India, the legacy brands of India, Patanjali, Dabur, Himalayas, or they were very, in the beauty and personal care segment, they were brands like Kama Ayurveda or Forest Essentials, right? Typically, there was a very large gap which we as a brand identified that if you really want to acquire a large consumer, and in that acquisition side, you also ensure that the overall Ayurveda market is growing, the adoption rate grows. So a price point which is globally called a sub $7 price point, which is a $5 to $7 category, at which the companies also have decent gross margins, and the product quality, you can really bring out one of the best product lines. So there, we started building the product. And then gradually we brought out, a large content play along with it. So if you see our handles, we are super agile and aggressive in terms of promoting Ayurveda via social handles. We use all modes of connections, like we do large-scale influencer marketing. We connect with all stratas of influencers so that people can look up to them, because these days people follow a lot of influencers. With that, we also give a very personalized approach in terms of a digital AI-driven Ayurvedic consultation on our website. And if people still want to go to next step, there is a video consultation available via WhatsApp and live video commerce. And then we headed to their commerce side, where we have built out the entire product portfolio, which can solve not only say the topical sides of problems of skin or hair, but also ingestible side. We are a complete holistic brand. So therefore, and now in the last 3-4 months, we took this entire approach offline. We have already opened 14-15 stores, pan-India, where we are already driving all of this, driving influencer marketing offline, giving Ayurvedic consultation offline, and driving them to the product portfolio.
Makes sense. I think it's very interesting, right? And especially even within the healthcare space, with a lot of online consultations, telehealth, and everybody, a lot of large majors also trying to get into that space. I think mixing up the product and the service, whatever it takes to get, like you said, working backwards from the customer. I think very, very interesting journey. Jeevika, how has that journey been for you? Because again, fashion, shoes and accessories is a space where customers enjoy the convenience of shopping online and the content and all of that. But at the same time, a store experience, the touch and feel of the product, visualization makes a big difference as well. So how is the omni-channel, so to speak, journey panned out for you?
Thank you, Bharti. Thank you for this question, and this is actually very interesting. And thank you, Unicommerce, for this platform. So I would address, I would just give a little background. So we as a ShoeTree, we got established in 2005. And we have 25 plus stores pan-India, especially in the northern side of India. And when the COVID hits, where the offline trend was actually deteriorating that time, and people were actually looking for online purpose, and e-commerce were booming that time. So therein, even we got that thing, that there is a need of an hour. So when the COVID was there, so there we had that idea, why not to start with the e-commerce platform? And yes, touch and feel, I too agree, because we are so much into that. Shopping is actually a fun. Shopping is a fun activity, and it's like, oh, it's a weekend, let's go out for a shopping. Why not? But now, at the ease of, and consumers are actually taking it as a convenience. So they can do, that's convenience for them, ordering from their place, and getting it, and the easy refunds and the returns policy has really made it easy, and really made it easy to go for the e-commerce channel as well. And I think that e-commerce has actually understood the pain areas of the consumers, where they are hitting it hard and how it's affecting. But at the same place, now understanding the consumer's point of view, this has really made a huge difference. And as per the reports, by 2025, I think this fashion industry in e-commerce is going to be the 71.1% increase by 2025, as per the reports. So now, earlier tier 1 cities were supposed to be, what they were targeting. But now the tier 2, tier 3, the awareness is as such that tier 2 and tier 3 cities are ordering online now. Even they are looking at the convenience. And if you look at the price point as well, so that is very competitive and very, very reasonable. And how the brands are showcasing their products and how they are giving that promotions to it. So it's really important for the consumers. They are getting the value for the price as well. They are paying for the brands.
Thanks for that, Jeevika. I think we spoke about 2 different vantage points of the customer experience and thinking backwards from there. But I think all of us here acknowledge that at the center stage of any successful omni-channel or digital transformation is technology, right? So I'll move to you, Swarndeep, to understand what's been your experience looking at technology as one of the key enablers across the D2C, e-commerce, and overall omni-channel space.
See, it's a omni-channel. If anybody is not omni-channel, any brand, so according to me, they are killing their brands. Just look around. Are there your customers have smartphone? If they have smartphone, then you need to be omni-channel. Because earlier we used to be on the best places where the most of the customer comes. Now the customer is on mobile. That's why we need to be on the, say, mobile also. We need to be omni-channel. Say like you need to be your stores. You need to be on the marketplace. You need to be your own e-commerce also. You need to be on the social commerce also. But that's easy to say, chalo ye omni-channel, like, let me switch over to Hindi also, so like people will understand. So what I say, like omni-channel, ke 4 actual pillars hain. So like if you want to be successful in omni-channel, what are those pillars? You need to have a single source of truth. Unified inventory, a unified CRM, unified product information management. And the 4th one, which I say it's a reverse supply chain management. The 4th one is the most important. Every time, say like, we heard this is advertisements, 15-minute delivery, 30-minute delivery. Are you committing 15-minute, 30-minute return also? So that is the must. Say if you are committing the same, say like if you are delivering the same day or the next day, you should say the same day or the next day return is also possible. That will build the trust also. And inventory plays the major role or the crucial role in this one, in the omni-channel. Because if your inventory is not on a real time, so jitne bhi aapke orders aa rahe hain, those orders are coming from marketplace also, from e-commerce also. You have your, a company is running, maybe your brand is running for the last 10 years or 15 years, so you have the distribution network also, you have your own retail stores also. So your orders will bounce, it will drop, say like, some orders are coming, you are committing, but you don't have the inventory. If you have real-time inventory, and through the APIs, if you are sharing your inventory with the marketplace and the e-commerce on the social commerce, or et cetera, et cetera. So then there will be no approximately almost zero bounce. And moreover, in this one, say like whenever we say it's the order management, the people will play, say like enterprise order management, because you get the different kind of orders. You are getting from the marketplace also, and you are getting orders from your distributor also. Whenever you are getting B2B orders, say internally from your organization, your distributor or your EBOs, then there are a number of processes or the approvals are there. Sales manager is approving, and as well as your finance manager will also approve that one. Then it will go for the packing or something like that one. But when we talk about your e-commerce order, so उसमें क्या होता है कि like e-commerce order का आया तो immediately that inventory should be blocked for that one, so that no one can buy because it is already paid or already committed. So ये चार जो चीज़ें हैं इन पे अगर आप काम कर लो तो ओमनी चैनल आपका सक्सेसफुल हो जाता है. बेसिक है API से नियर रियल टाइम आपकी इन्वेंट्री विजिबल होनी चाहिए. एंड द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट, सबसे पहले डिलीवरी बिल्ड करने की बजाय वापस लेने का सिस्टम बनाओ. आई कैन शेयर one of my client is the name, like you have already everybody heard about Iconic. So when they started, they said, okay, we need to be omni-channel, but first built how to take returns. It should be seamless. What they have built, somebody bought online, he can return offline. Somebody bought offline, they can return online. So it should be the practice of that one. That's all. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. I think we spoke a lot about inventory, right? I think from a customer perspective, availability at all points of time, in all channels, in all touch points, and increasingly here and now. I think I used to be with Amazon over the last decade and have seen the journey moving from, let's say, 2 to 3 day deliveries, variations in delivery times across different product types, which still exists for, let's say, heavy and bulky or complicated product types, all the way down to moving from a national replication to a regional replication and tracking regional in-stock levels and availability to increasingly hyperlocal availability, right? And there were 2-3 hour deliveries that we are talking about for essentials, which then moved across all category types. I mean, if there's a cell phone, customers want it now, right? And if there is even pieces of apparel, customers wanted it now. And now to the 10-15 minute delivery, the, so to speak, instant commerce, as it's starting to be called, where it's changing a certain customer buying pattern from thinking and planning a basket even for essentials to instant gratification and not, that whole, I know there are debates about whether it will sustain, whether quick commerce is profitable, etc. But there is a very, very inevitable customer buying pattern and behavior that is changing that we may need to be mindful of. And as I think providers in general to customers, I think all of us need to gear up for the faster and faster deliveries that we can promise to customers. So on that note, Prodipto, given that you deal with various product category types, we are just catching up. And for each product category, the kind of fulfillment promises that need to be given to customers, and hence the enabling supply chains at the back end, the right fulfillment and shipping kind of models, and the warehousing and delivery footprints need to be very different, very customized. So, and again, that's even within digital and e-commerce. Now, if you talk about physical versus digital, that adds a further layer of complexity. And now to Swarndeep's point, reverse logistics is a different animal of its own accord. So I think, would love to hear from you on your experiences working with multiple different types of categories and players on what have some challenges been in this, and how is that kind of heading forward?
Thanks, Bharati. Good afternoon to all of you. Whenever I sit in a discussion like this, or typically जब भी हम client environment में जाते हैं, so there's a lot of expectation. Everybody comes in and says कि हमको ये करने का है, right? अब वो कैसे करने का है, that you figure out. So these days, a lot of people ask, I want to enable BOPIS. पहले तो मुझे BOPIS समझ में नहीं आया था होता क्या है ये. So buy online, pay in store came in, click and connect came in. I want to have an endless aisle. Okay, fine. So how do we get an endless aisle? So a lot of these concepts keep on coming, right? Now we're from the supply chain side, and you look at it. Okay, everything is possible, right? And Swanji over here mentioned one of the core concepts which comes in is that yes, it all has to come down to something which is called inventory management. We all know inventory is very critical. Material होएगा तभी तो commit कर पाओगे. And material होएगा is not material आप manually नहीं देखोगे. Material has to be there in the system. That's because if you are looking you're running an operation which is manually operated, then I don't think so. We have any business to be around over here. It is all system dependent. You have to ensure that the human intervention part is away and let it run as per the system. But now here there's some critical facets to it. We divide into 5 principles. You talked of 4, sir. We have 5 principles. हम उसको 5 fingers कहते हैं. We start with something which we call is an inward process. Now, what is an inward process? सब लोग लेते हैं material. Okay, how many over here have their own D2C brands? Can you raise your hands, please? Okay, quite a few. Well, I would also like to, my next question to you would be, how many of you are doing your EN barcoding at the warehouse? Can you raise your hands? Okay, I do see a few. Sir, यहीं पे गलती करते हो आप लोग. Never do that. You have to ensure that your barcoding or your EN coding starts right at the beginning, at the origin. Because when you are doing at a warehouse, you are again, the first level what you're doing is we are actually asking someone else who just doesn't understand color. Abhi, I'll give you an example. In our warehouse, we have a lady over there who comes from the fashion industry, and there's a color called fuchsia. Now, a fuchsia is purple or pink? Light pink or closer to purple? It's perception, it's how you see it, right? Now, out there, when someone is there, usko nahi malum wo purple hai ya fuchsia hai ya pink hai, right? It's all interpretation. In the warehouse, you can't make out bottle green and or dark blue. It becomes very difficult, right? So, because the color is not TL85, it's not DL60 lighting, it's some warehouse lighting, right? So, we have to ensure the coding which starts, the EN coding starts right at the manufacturer end, because that's where the product is originating from. So, whatever happens, either a mistake is happening at that end, then you're not allowing any further mistakes to creep in further. So, inward is correct, is scan-based, ensure that the right product is in, and that's the first finger going, then goes put away, second finger, put away in the right place. Because then again, all the position out there is also scan-based. So you know that this category, this product, this SKU is getting mapped and kept over there. And every time it will be kept over there. So that is another second finger going. Third time when the order comes, a picker goes, he again goes with the HHT scanner. He will go out there, pick it up from that same place, pick up that product, check it out that yes, what he's carrying is the right product, take it to the processing part of it, process the order. And after processing the order comes the shipping part of it. अब वो shipping भी जब करेगा, तब वो scan करेगा कि yes, what I'm manifesting is the right product for which that came, for which we have packed the right product, and it's being sent out. And the final one which Sir talked about, which was actually the exchange part of it, the returns part of it, or the delivery experience part of it. That again is a very critical one, because we are talking of an economy which is COD driven. We are talking of an economy where returns is almost about 25, 30, even 35%. वो 35% जब material आएगा, वो तो फिर आपके warehouse में ही आएगा. At that point in time, what do you think you have got? Sometimes you've got material which is not what you have sent. Sometimes you would get stuff which is very different from what was originally sent. And we encounter a lot of things. कोई पुराना T-shirt आ जाएगा आपके पास, Or someone has ordered polo, US polo, and what comes back to you is something which is used t-shirts, right? All these kind of things happen. But that is showing an RTO. The RTO is increasing an inventory count, but it's not physically what you have got in your warehouse. So that's where the mismatches start coming from. So again, there has to be some kind of a adjustment to be done over here. So these are all the factors which will lead to your inventory not being accurate enough. So we need to reconcile these parameters. Now, that part is still an easier part, because it's one entity which is managing the inventory. If we can set this process correct, it is fine. But now when we talk of omni-channel, we are extending this further. We are saying, okay, e-commerce, it's still digital, we can manage it. What about when we go on to something which is beyond that? Beyond that means we are going to a distributor network. We're talking of retail channels, mom and pop stores. Yes, it's possible, provided we are able to, through the systems again, manage inventory at those locations. So we're talking to a few of our brands, fashion brands, which also have their own stores, right? So we say, okay, great. Let's look at, you want to have this endless aisle, BOPIS, click and connect. Let's enable all these, possible. How do we do this? So we say, fair enough, here's my backend system, so we hold all the inventory over here, right? Also, get me your inventory at your stores. So fair. So we get the inventory of your stores also. So 30 stores, I'm live. Immediately, I have locations also of all across India. मेरे पास 6 अपने warehouses हैं, which is all across India. Along with that, I get more of their stores. So suddenly, I've got almost 36 locations from which I can ship out. Great. So those are the kind of things which can be enabled, but this requires tremendous systems, all interconnected, all working seamlessly. Processes are set exactly the same. जो यहाँ पे process follow होगा, same process has to be followed everywhere. Packaging process, exchange process, returns process, exactly the same. If we can map that, if we have that discipline, then it'll work. It has to work. So I think going forward, this is going to be the way. But for a D2C brand, there are certain challenges. And I'll share my experience. See, we work with a lot of brands. Last year, we had close to almost about 120 odd brands with us. We actually cut them down. We felt that it was taking a lot of our time, energy to maintain so many brands. We specifically went and focused more on enterprise customers. Now, something which I have realized personally is that over a period of time, if this entire business has got too many moving parts, और ये moving parts अकेले किसी का संभालने के लिए possible हो ही नहीं सकता. You have to have a good team. That team has to invest their effort, time, also connect with your partner, because again, not everything can be done by you. If you're thinking that you can manage everything by yourself, it is humanly not possible. You can have a great concept, you can be a great innovator, can have great ideas, can conceptualize a great product, which you can market by yourself. But if you're thinking of doing all the other moving parts by yourself, you need to have a team. A team has to connect with your partners, has to ensure that both of them have clear understanding how things are regularly talking almost 3 to 4, 5 times a day. The brands which work with us, that's the way they work. 3 to 4, 5 times a day, they are talking to my CAMs. ये करने का है, next ये करने का, and they understand. It is not that it's you do this and I do this. Okay, can we improve it? Can we have batching, expiry, things like that? All kind of simulations can be run. How do we improve on this? So that's the way we keep on improving. So if you have that kind of vision to improve, form a good team, ensure that if you're a great partner, work together, I think that is the only truth. That's the only way to success. I hope that's fine.
Yeah. Thank you, Prodipto. I think a lot of details, including how the kind of fulfillment operations itself is run in a very quick nutshell. So thank you for that. Moving on to a very different aspect, we spoke at length on inventory and management. payments is again a very, very complex process overall in India, especially with multitudes of payment options in an economy which is again very COD heavy still, and it's going to be that way for a long, long time. So Kavish, will be great if you can share your thoughts given your experience in the payments domain.
So thank you so much, everyone, for coming and attending this one. I have a quick question. How many of you sell cross-border from India? On your website, on a marketplace, or even offline, for example? Great, not many. So I'll talk about the few of the core growth levers that you should be looking at when you are expanding your overall business globally. In my experience, being in the payments industry, there are a couple of things that have stood out or that have separated the really good, successful brands from the ones that are just starting or they are somewhere in their journey of expanding border. One, payments has to be a part of your e-commerce strategy from day one. You cannot be doing payments at the end of launching your website or at the end of starting to sell cross-border. That's one. Two, you need to look at local payment methods for each country that you are selling in. If you are selling to the US, if you are selling to Australia, if you are selling to Bangladesh, if you are selling to Latin America, you need to have a system that allows you to accept local payments in each of these geographies. Third, and I think the most important one, is to have a system more like an orchestration or an aggregation that allows you to figure out which payment methods are working the best for you. So for example, if you sell in the US or if you sell in the Europe, you should exactly know what kind of cards have the highest acceptance, what kind of payment methods are actually preferred by locals there, and have a system that gives you that level of analytics to the depth that you do not lose any sale because of a faulty payment method. So if you look at overall e-commerce in India, or for example, cross-border e-commerce in India, Payoneer is into cross-border payments particularly, so I can talk more about exporting from India. I think one of the most important growth levers that we have learned over the years, and in my personal experience, is having a system which is more like a one-stop solution. It is very difficult to be able to manage multiple payment options, multiple payment solution, reconciliating your payments from one platform, processing returns for the refunds that you would have received from another platform. So it's very, very important to have one common platform that allows you to do all of that very, very simply. And at the same time, you are not compromising on the CX. So a lot of the things that were spoken by the panel right now were primarily focused on customer experience. Having returns, having a system for returns first is a core part of CX. Like you should have an option for returns regardless of the fact that you bought it online, offline, or from any source. The same way, having the right payment platform is make or break for a system. So imagine you are selling fashion products, for example, on your website. The customer loves the reviews that he sees on Instagram, Facebook, and now they are on your website making that purchase of, let's say, for example, $50 or $100. And on the last step, they are unable to make a payment in the first stop, or the payment option is not mobile friendly, or their card is not accepted. It is very important to have additional solutions, which are even beyond payments, that allow you to make custom workflows for customers who you lost in the overall process because of a payment failure or because of a buggy internet or something. So one important growth lever beyond the three which I spoke about is having additional features which ensure that the customers are not lost at the final stage of the cart, in the final stage of the buying process, and you have systems that allow you to win them back through marketing campaigns, win-back campaigns, etc. So I think more importantly, for all D2C brands that are selling online, be it domestic, be it selling cross-border, payments need to be a part of your strategy, your growth strategy from day one. You cannot be thinking about payments after launching your brand or after you have reached a certain threshold. That's one. Another very important thing which generates from the same point which I spoke about, is being able to identify customers which are fraud. So having a system that allows you to figure out which customers are making dummy purchases or are basically trying to hurt your customer acquisition cost by making fraudulent purchases. So having a system that also handles fraud, having a system that makes it very, very easy for you to run offers, run campaigns for all the loyal base of customers. So when you scale your business globally, all these things which wouldn't have made a lot of sense in India will automatically start making sense once you start exporting cross-border. So I think these are some of the things that are essential to launch your business overall globally with super strong logistics partners that we have in India right now. I've seen the overall ecosystem grow over the last few years. Shipping a product from Delhi to the US is the same kind of effort that you would probably have shipping it from Delhi to Bombay or Bangalore. So I think it's the right time to be able to expand your domestic business cross-border. Payoneer as a payment solution is there to support you with all the things which I spoke about. And for the things that which are not basically covered by Payoneer, there are a bunch of SaaS solutions that will allow you to optimize your entire customer funnel from the point the customer is thinking about a brand to the point they actually end up making the purchase. So it is very, very important to have the right set of payment partner to be able to do this, and also have the right set of additional logistics solutions, optimization solutions, etc., to be able to simplify the overall thing.
Great, thanks for that, Kavish. I think we are on top of time. You've heard all of the panelists today, and I think, like I mentioned at the get-go, we heard perspectives on fulfillment, on technology and the right kind of platforms and integration, and now on payments. All of this put together to ensure there's the right kind of homogeneous experience for customers. So I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think each one of these folks here, and I think many of you in the audience as well, are rightful experts in this domain, and we can go on and on talking about this. But I think one thing that we'd probably like to leave as a thought is many times we end up working backwards from what's out there and hot in the market and try to plug and play that into our businesses, especially in the D2C and digital domains with the kind of very, very high investment levels that are going on in this. I think it's very important for us to take that one moment and sit back and reflect on genuinely, truly, what makes sense for the end customer. Because for different product category types, some of these models may not make sense at all, right? For certain product category types, there's an upper limit. While I'm a big proponent of D2C and I've been in this world gainfully so, I think it's very important to sit back and reflect at the number of apps ultimately that a customer is going to download and use and look at to buy that last 50 grams of dhania, for example, right? And that's where I think genuine hand-on-heart introspection on which channel, where is the customer going to buy, and at that point of sale, how am I going to serve the customer is going to be the right input that will help us to get short-term as well as long-term revenues and growth and in a profitable, sustainable manner as well. So that's the one thing that, like I said, customer obsession is the heart of D2C and any business. I mean, that's how it should be. But definitely, I think that's just one point we would like to collectively leave together with the audience. Thank you.